give my vote.
Court is in session with Ryan in Sacktown on If You Don't Like That. Now, Ryan in Sacktown.
Oh, must be Rhino. You're just a part of the King's Court.
What's up? Happy President's Day, everybody. Ryan in Sacktown with you. I have an admission that I need to make, and I 110% blame it on the NBA in the NBA All-Star Game. I was supposed to begin a fast today. Explain this to me. How am I supposed to cope with a weekend that was that bad? With the expectations and the bar as low as they can get, and it's that egregious, that laughable, that sad. Let me give you a number. 33 minutes and 41 seconds. 33 minutes and 41 seconds. That is how much basketball you got yesterday at the All-Star Game. 33 minutes and 41 seconds, meaning my 72-hour fast that I abandoned at about 12 o'clock today lasted roughly 11 and a half hours more than the All-Star Game and basketball play in there. It was incredibly bad. There's a lot to talk about. LeBron James, an absolute shame, a clown. Yes, I'm not backtracking that. LeBron James is a clown. We'll talk about it on the other side. LeBron, how about you scratch a $1.3 million check to Domantas Sabonis? How about we make it up to Domas that way, LeBron? Are you kidding me? Just the NBA. I don't know what you do from here. You have got everybody that's covering this game from an NBA standpoint. Turner, Draymond Green, trashing the game before it even starts. Hell, Sirius XM radio, NBA radio, during the Legends brunch that takes place on Sundays, the Sunday morning of the All-Star Game. Frank Isola, his partner, trashing the NBA and Sirius.
Mike Garvey's just eating.
Well, yeah, Garvey. Yeah, he's eating. I mean, that's a theme with people that work at our company, is especially when the food is free, because on their salary, our salaries here at the station, we can't afford to eat. Like me, I got to get the free food.
And we're just talking about the food. We won't even mention the drinking.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, and maybe that's the reason why their work suffers, because they're always intoxicated.
And that is a small sample size. I mean, a minute sample size of what they had to say. So I want to get your feedback. I have one way, and one way only, the NBA fixes this issue and fixes the NBA All-Star Game. We can talk about it. We're going to recap the entire weekend. There were some bright spots and a lot going on still. We are on the All-Star break for the Kings, meaning that we're going to be looking to them here in a couple days when they can start practicing again. But today on the Kings front, I want to look at what we think the schedule, what their record's going to be after the All-Star break. How are they going to come home? They are nearing the home stretch, 55 games already down. So we have got a busy Monday here on President's Day. Let's get into it on the other side. Welcome in to the King's Court.
Late nights on the screen, hey, it's Grant and Ryan. We bleed purple, talking hoops, never lying. Sacramento Kings, we rise and we fall. If you don't like that, then you don't know ball. Jerry sitting with the stories of the game, spilling all the truth, driving legends insane. From the Cow Palace days to Arco's roar, this town's heart beats on the hardwood floor. If you don't like that, turn away now. Kings in our blood, we ride strong and proud.
And welcome back in. Rhino with you here on If You Don't Like That.
The revolution is televised.
Yes, the revolution is televised. What's everybody doing on President's Day? How you doing today? Happy to be with you. No, a lot of people are off. We are not. We are grinding away. And yes, I am also taking your suggestions on this fasting thing. It is happening. I am restarting it tomorrow. I needed to be mentally prepared for it. Coming to air today, I'm just like, you know what? I can't do it. An opportunity came up and I couldn't pass it up. I'm sorry. I was not mentally strong. I know Haunted Horse is out there laughing somewhere. I know everybody, all my friends, they're like, he ain't going to make it like 10 hours. Well, I made it like 12. So we'll be good. We'll start it up tomorrow, meaning I will get to eat again on Friday when the Kings return back from the break. So if you're a faster, if you've done it before, give me some tips. Give me some love. Let me know how to do it. Let's see. I usually do the morning fast, but the 72 hours, this is going to be weird. By the way, I'm not sure if he's going to pop up today, but Haunted Horse has a hell of a weekend story that I would like the little guy to maybe share. I think it's really interesting.
Not so fast, midget. Not so fast.
Midget.
Yeah, little guy.
The little guy was a little bit of a hero today, believe it or not. Dre, what's up, my man? Aztecs, Blastima Aztecs, what's up? How you doing? Welcome into the show. Welcome onto the channel. If you want to get involved on the show, call it using the link that's in the chat. You can also scan the QR code that is on the screen. We're with you for about 2 hours today. So let's make it good. Again, I want your suggestions. How do you think the NBA All-Star Game gets fixed? I have the one and only solution in my eyes. So we'll get down to that here in a little bit. Dre, if you don't like that, you don't like NBA basketball. Yes, indeed. Let's go. Let's go. Alex Len, not the solution. LeBron should have given up his spot for Sabonis. I don't even know where to start. Coming off of last year's All-Star Game, and I'm not going to get all into my thoughts right now, but I'm just going to give you this in a nutshell, Dre. Do you remember the way that last year's All-Star Game ended? Do you remember Adam Silver just visibly frustrated? There was any place in the world he would rather be besides center court, handing a trophy to a bunch of guys that he felt like didn't give two you-know-whats about basketball. This was him last year.
And to the Eastern Conference All-Stars, you scored the most points. Well, congratulations.
Okay, so you now give the officials, you literally gave the officials an edict to not call fouls like you were in the first half of the season last year. You pumped up the physicality. So coming into this year's All-Star Game, right? We're changing up what we're doing. We're going to do this tournament style. It's going to be more competitive. The guys are going to play harder. You got Steph Curry championing this thing because it's in San Francisco, right? And then LeBron James, LeBag James, LeBum James, whatever you want to call him, LeBronda James, doesn't show up to All-Star Weekend until literally, I believe, either after All-Star Saturday night, either sometime during All-Star Saturday night, which, no, LeBron wasn't there for All-Star Saturday night. So check that. Maybe he got there afterwards, whatever. I don't care when LeBron exactly got there. Here's what I care about. You have this perception of the All-Star Game that these guys don't care. This generation doesn't care. This guy shows up in street clothes before the game, doesn't even change out of his street clothes, doesn't play. Are you freaking kidding me? What kind of, that is the face of the NBA. It's the face. And that's what you send? Like, how much more? Like, you should have just had a power slap contest right there at center court. In fact, Adam Silver, he doesn't even get to slap. He just gets slapped. And just let LeBron slap Adam Silver left and right in front of 25,000 people, because that's what it was. Now you want to talk about the repercussions, which we're talking about. Sabonis could have had that spot. Powell could have had that spot. It's complete BS. You're going to tell me that guy didn't know that he wasn't going to play this weekend? Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Let's go Kings. Yes, indeed. Let's go Kings. What's up, DSC? How you doing today? Trill, how you doing, man? Nice to see you. Not trying to be that guy, but LeBron has really helped the league's deterioration. 100%. 100%. LeBron buried the All-Star. That was so much more than him not playing. He buried that game yesterday by not even, if you're not going to play, okay, if you're not going to play, why not dress? What's the harm in dressing for the game? You don't have to play. You can dress for the game, but you're not even going to dress? LeBron is sitting there in street clothes while they're taking the all-star pictures? Like, I'm sorry. For anybody that's ever made the argument that LeBron is not bigger than basketball, that LeBron cares so much about the game, just look at this weekend. LeBron is LeBron. LeBron don't care about the game. LeBron cares about LeBron. And when I say he doesn't care about the game, yes, he loves basketball. He loves basketball. But you're going to tell me he's being a good steward of taking the baton, taking the ball from Kobe, from Jordan, from all those guys who always wanted to leave the game better for the next generation? Once they were done, LeBron hasn't left the game better. LeBron's left the game worse. It's a joke. Look, I'm heated. And yes, it's partly due to Domas. Yes. But I'm heated for the fans. I'm heated for the youngsters. Think about it. If you turn on the NBA for an hour a year, let's tune into the All-Star game. At least we're going to get to see LeBron. At least we're going to get to see this. And that's what you saw last night. 33 minutes and 41 seconds of basketball. 33 minutes and 41 seconds of basketball in a 3-hour broadcast. Interested to see how NBC changes things next year. How they leave it, we'll see. LeBron hogged his position so no one else could replace him. He didn't want to miss out on the All-Star photos. He didn't want to miss out, or he didn't want to be there for the All-Star photos. I'm not sure which one it is. He didn't want to miss out, or he didn't want to be there. Like, what are we doing? Adam Silver should be giving Mac McClung a serious lump sum bonus for carrying the slam dunk contest. Two guys who couldn't even make a dunk, Stephon Castle. Stephon hurt his arm on the first dunk. I'm not sure if anybody noticed that, but anybody, I don't know how to explain this. You have to be a basketball player or a hooper to understand this, and somebody that was able or has dunked a basketball, even if you've lowered the hoop down. There's this weird thing that happens with your forearm right here. It sometimes if you dunk too hard, it's like you feel like that part of your arm almost got stretched out. It's the weirdest sensation. I don't know how to put it in better terms. Anybody that's done it before knows exactly what I'm talking about. It comes from dunking too hard. And that's what happened to him on his first dunk. He was way too amped up. But Mac McClung, look, here's the thing about Mac McClung that I wish the NBA would do a better job. And I think the broadcast did an okay job of doing this, but he's so much more than a dunker. Like, I just wish that people would take the time, because if anything shined this weekend, let's be real. If anything shined this weekend, it was the Rising Stars and it was the G League. Those were your two stars of the weekend. Friday night was the best basketball that you saw by far. And I'm not saying it was great basketball, but those guys were playing. Those guys actually cared. Those guys wrapping it up. Look, Adam Silver's calling me right now. I'm getting the call from Stacyville, Iowa. Stacyville, Iowa. Who's in Iowa? Does the league office have a satellite office there? But no, Mac McClung, he went from just a guy to a two-way player to MVP of the G League. Pretty damn cool. Pretty damn cool. So good on him. And we're going to run through the entire events of this entire weekend. It's just, if you're the NBA, you might as well turn this into a convention, because that's really what it is. It's for these guys to attend parties. It's to have meetings. If anybody's ever been to a convention for work, that's exactly what this weekend is. You couldn't even really call that basketball last night. And how about Kevin Hart? Again, y'all, 33 minutes and 41 seconds of basketball in 3 hours. It just felt so poorly executed. It felt more like a skit. It felt, it wasn't even, I don't know what it was. And look, I'm not trying to bury TNT. I love the TNT guys. I love them. I thought it was cool that they got their flowers. It's center court last night. But everything else about yesterday and this entire weekend, man, I've just, Chris Paul and Wemby, I don't even know where to start. I don't know where to start, but I'm happy I'm here with all of you. And how about Draymond Green, too? Draymond Green literally pissed all over the NBA for 2 hours. That is what Draymond Green did on the NBA's biggest stage, other than the NBA Finals. He sat there and made it about himself. Like, if you're tuning in for the first time this year, why would you keep watching if Draymond's telling you this is the worst idea ever? These guys don't deserve to be on the court, blah, 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 blah. Well, I can tell you, if you listen to some of the interviews this weekend, there is a lot of the guys that came before this generation. And when I'm talking about this generation, I'm talking about this generation's stars that are getting ready to exit the game. I'm talking about Kevin Durant, talking about LeBron, talking about Steph Curry, talking about all them. They are through their prime. They are in the last act, if we want to put it into a theater context. This is their last act. And there's a lot of guys, Dr. J, Oscar Robertson, that are pissed about how this generation has handled the All-Star game. Because the generation before them, they took it serious. They respected it. The All-Star game died with Kobe. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. I have more fun watching my daughter's middle school basketball games than the debacle All-Star game. At least kids are trying to learn, and they're playing with heart, no heart for the All-Star game. I put a tweet out that said, I have seen better basketball before the doors open at the Golden One Center than I saw this weekend. Go to college, blah, blah, blah. Dennis, you talking crap to somebody? Yeah, that kid looked kid making the half court shot for 100K was epic. Dude, Mr. Beast was doing everything he could to get that kid to win. So was Dame. And they're trying to make it look hip or cool, but it just looks so fake to me. Everything looks fake and not genuine. To me, a jamboree, yeah, it's a good way to put it. Dennis, like it's okay. Dennis, your talk to text, man. You got to realize when you talking is different than written language. Like it's, you can drop the like it's.
That's terrible.
They are trying to groom them, and I make him curious about these terminologies. That what are you? Okay. We're getting off the rails. Okay, so this is Trill. It's so interesting that you bring this up, and now we're jumping around from the weekend. First off, this was Victor Wembanyama's idea, what Chris Paul and Wemby did. And I'm not going to lie to you, I'm a little bit torn. Here's where I'm torn. At least they tried to compete. I mean, they were trying to win, right? They were thinking about how to be strategic. They cared enough to try to come up with a way to win that they felt was outside the box, but within the rules, right? But on that stage, the skills competition, you can't do that. You just can't do that, especially when you're Chris Paul. You are somebody that is heavily respected within the NBA. You are heavily involved in the Players Association, and you are doing the skills challenge with the next face of the league. If everything goes right, you can't do it. It's a skills competition. Now, we can have a bigger conversation about the skills competition. Is it the dumbest thing I've ever seen? Yes, without a doubt. It is so stupid. And let me tell you, throwing a chest pass, doing a bounce pass through those little goals or whatever you want to call them, not exactly as hard as the quarterbacks throwing footballs at moving targets. Pretty damn easy. Not going to lie to you. There's nothing impressive about that whatsoever. NBAers making a layup, great. NBAers making a three, okay. It's a skills competition. You can't think of something better than that. And we're going to get to Steph and Sabrina too. I have respect for what the women did. The women are like, you want to do it again? Come to our stage, Steph. How about you come to our All-Star game? We're trying to grow our game. We're not just going to come grow your game too. So you don't get a second dose of Steph and Sabrina. So the Chris Paul thing though, man, it was a bad look. And here's why it was a bad look. This is my principal issue with it. My principal issue with it was not the action of what they did. My principal issue was the NBA, the officials, whoever they were on the court, and Chris Paul and Wemby, mostly Chris Paul, arguing with the officials. What is one of the biggest gripes of NBA fans? It's arguing with the officials. It's the game being slowed down because guys will not stop bickering at officials. And on the NBA's biggest stage, Saturday night's way bigger than the All-Star game. Saturday night is more important than the actual All-Star game. The tone is set by seeing one of the most respected leaders in the league and the future face of the NBA, arguing with officials.
That's terrible.
It just can't happen. It got cringe with Kevin Hart. I know. Don't even know where to go. Here's what I do know. Let's start here. and we're going to digest this entire thing. We're going to keep getting to all of you as well. Let's start with Draymond Green in the pregame. This was Draymond Green on Turner Sports.
Oh, man.
I had to work so hard to play on Sunday. Candace goes, I'm coaching some team. And she's right. Some team that no one wants to see.
Oh, man.
I had to work so hard to play on Sunday night of All-Star Weekend. And because ratings are down, because the game's bad, we're bringing in Rising Stars. That's not a fix. I never played in the Rising Stars game. My first 2 years, I didn't touch that game. And these guys get to touch the All-Star floor on Sunday night? Like when the floor is the floor? You know, in America, the president has Air Force One, right?
Yeah.
They have several of those planes. It's only Air Force One if the president's on it. That's the All-Star floor. You have the court, you have the events. It's a nice looking court. When the All-Stars are on the court, now it's the All-Star court. Those guys did not make the All-Star team. To be playing in the All-Star game and you did not make the All-Star team is absurd.
Do other NBA players have that? Like, are the OG teams they're facing, are they going to come out and go, let's end this right now? Because that passion, if that's on the court, that's beautiful.
But they're supposed to do that. I don't think you necessarily get excited and be like, oh, we're excited. We got to beat these dudes. They should beat them in their sleep anyway. But I just think it's they're doing this to pump All-Star up. I think that's dumbing it down even more. You put some rising stars out there, first, second-year guys that's nowhere near All-Star level, by the way. And they're going to play against All-Stars.
I'll just say that just seeing this right now is getting you going.
What is this? Those guys play when? Friday?
Yes, Friday did.
They didn't even get Saturday night.
Yeah.
They got Friday. Now they play Sunday night. Come on. No, thank you. But the NBA also has to do some things to make guys.
Draymond Green just burying the format, burying the young guys. You gotta be kidding me. Gotta be kidding me. I actually had an opportunity to be down there this weekend, and I wanted nothing to do with it. Nothing. In fact, I'm not sure how many of you paid attention on social media, but 15 minutes before tip-off, that was the arena. That is no joke. 15 minutes before tip-off yesterday. 15 minutes, y'all. The parking issue was awful. Imagine that. Parking issues in downtown San Francisco. Now, I get exhibition games. They're going to be mostly a corporate audience. I understand that. But that's crazy, especially when you've got hockey in the Four Nations tournament doing things perfectly. Like, could you do it any better? Everybody, think about this. I'm about to say everybody this weekend was paying attention to hockey and not the NBA. In what world does that happen in February? More talk about these hockey fights and the passion that's being displayed by these guys. They're getting it right. Daytona 500 ended up going really long. More people talking about the wrecks at Daytona. And then you get Kevin Durant clapping back today. Quote, I think it's more fun to complain about the NBA than to actually watch it. Crazy. Cancel All-Star Weekend and let's just give everybody a break since we're so miserable around this time. Look, I get that Kevin is well known for being a troll. I get that he's got 7 different burner accounts. I get that he is he's right up there. If we were going to rank the most sensitive guys in the league, Kevin Durant, he is up there. Foxy's up there too, by the way. I can't tell if Kevin Durant's being sarcastic or not. I really can't. Because these guys do look miserable. In fact, we're going to get to LeBron. I know a lot of you probably have beef with Anthony Edwards. At least the guy dressed out. And I think what Anthony Edwards had to say is actually valid. I agree with him 100%. Basketball players are creatures of habit. You want them to go hard, you want them to take it serious, then guess what? Keep them within the confines of their habits. Starting and stopping. These guys are not 17 years old. These guys aren't 14 years old. Some of you, Jeff, talking about his kids watching basketball, not having them watch the All-Star game. Some of you that have kids that play AAU, that play tournaments every single weekend. Starting, stopping, playing 3 or 4 games a day. It's tough on the kids. What about guys that are 28, 29, that are somewhat stars, I should say, the next faces of the league? And then you've got the older generation, your Durants, your Currys. Starting and stopping isn't great on their bodies, but Anthony Edwards, I got to say this, at least he tried.
You like it?
If I'm telling the truth, no. Only because you didn't get that much time to warm. That was another reason, like, I couldn't play. Like, my groin messed up, and I didn't get that much time to warm it up. So yeah, I'm not a big fan of it because I think we all need to warm up.
Would you?
Can you disagree with him? Now, the counter to that is, well, you knew the format well in advance. These things are rehearsed, by the way. The NBA brings in a crew of guys, just so you know this. The NBA brings in a crew of players that aren't NBA players. They might just be influencers. Usually it's influencers. Guys that have YouTube channels that surround basketball. They bring those guys in a couple of days before the All-Star game, and they literally run through the entire program. I mean, they run through the entire program. They have the guys go through the three-point competition. They have them go through the dunk competition. Obviously, most of these guys can't dunk, so they're doing layups or whatever. The games, they run through those all too. They literally do the All-Star game as a dry run. So these guys, the All-Stars, they were going to be clued in and tuned in on what the schedule looked like. 100%. So maybe, just maybe, there's a part of me that's like, Ant, probably maybe you should have sat out. You should have let the NBA know in advance that you weren't going to be able to play. Now, his situation, again, different than LeBron's. LeBron, absolutely, he lost my last strand of support this weekend. He lost it. I don't know how you get it back, LeBron. I just don't. LeBron James is more important than basketball. It's what it was. Bigger than the NBA. So with Anthony Edwards, I'm in the middle. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. Not this guy.
So many years to come.
Left side, Dave.
I just want to follow up on tonight's game. You got Stephon Castle and the Rising Stars team going up against the OGs, you, KD, Steph. Kind of what's your approach to that new format, and what will we see from you tonight?
You won't see anything from me tonight. Unfortunately, I will not be in uniform tonight. Still dealing with ankle and foot discomfort, so I will not be playing tonight, unfortunately. I hate that, but I'm looking forward to seeing the format. This is the first year for it. I know we got a lot of great, call us the OGs. That's hilarious. We do got a few guys with gray hairs, so that makes sense. But, that should be fun. I saw the quote the other day with DK was somebody he's going to play against me. So I guess I'll see him at practice, and hopefully I'll be in practice. We can go at it then.
Over here, Law on the right.
So LeBron, Law Murray at The Athletic. Back in 2007, you hosted Saturday Night Live. You were the last active NBA player to host that show.
I respect the hell out of Law Murray. He does an excellent job for The Athletic. He covers the Clippers. He does the power rankings through much of the season for The Athletic. But his question there, that is the type of environment that has now been cultured. That's the type of environment that it is. If you are in a room with LeBron James, we all know the obvious follow-up questions to what was asked about LeBron. You don't think these guys knew? Draymond says he knew an hour before that. Okay, you don't think the media knew that LeBron wasn't going to be playing? And you just ask one question and no follow-ups? That's how much power this dude has. You stay away from the bad stuff and you move on to the SNL. You were the last player to host SNL. I don't fault Law Murray for his question. I don't. I get it. It's what you have to do if you're going to have access to LeBron James. It's a bigger problem with teams and how they credential. Different conversation. So no LeBron, which means $1.3 million out the window for Domas. Unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. Unbelievable. If you want to get in on the conversation, you can. Would love to hear from you today. You can hit the link that is in the chat. Also, we're going to be getting to all of your chats, as many as we can, as we continue to recap this weekend. The actual game, the 33 minutes and 41 seconds a game, you had to deal with this.
I'm telling Chuck, be a real coach. If another 7-footer or above shoots another 3-pointer, sit him down. Sit him down, Chuck. I don't want to see another big man shoot a 3. Sit him down. Point blank. Get in the box.
A little too much. A little heavy-handed on the Kevin Hart last night. The Inside the NBA segment, cool. I get it. Giving those guys their flowers. Well-deserved. But way, way too much. Now, I told you at the top, I have one fix. One fix for the All-Star game. One fix. Does anybody have fixes? What would you do to fix the game? Before I give you mine, let me know what you would do to fix this game. I'm looking at some of your chats right now. Yeah, look, the All-Star, it's probably the 3-point contest is probably the best thing they have going right now. You've had suggestions of guys that will play one-on-one. Maybe you separate them between guard, separate them by position, do like a King of the Hill thing on All-Star Saturday night. I don't know. I know the solution. Beside the solution, which is not going to be the solution I present to you, but the other side of the argument is, Ryan, why do you care so much? Just don't watch it. You know what's going to come. I care so much because I love basketball. This was a 3-ring circus. Like, I didn't think anything could get worse than it did last year. I really didn't. But if you watch that final game between the OGs and whoever else, it was a glorified shoot-around with guys running up and down the court. And to a degree, I can't really blame all of them. Again, a long time to be sitting in between games. You got 33 minutes and 41 seconds of basketball. It's insane. Todd, it's the biggest circus in sports. And the alien has some explaining to do. Well, the alien was very busy actually introducing the NBA community to the new AI. Yes, AI that's being used.
E.T. home phone.
You think I'm kidding? Check this out. The Warriors using robots in the facility.
E.T. tea, home from.
Adam felt at home. Maybe that's why he was relaxed. You don't need to be fat, or you don't need to fast to be healthy. Okay, James weighing in on the fast. It's not necessary. Eat a controlled diet 6 days per week. Enough protein, limiting processed foods, once per week, moderate, splurge. Okay, strength training, jog. Well, I have different reasons for wanting to try the fast. It's not like that's going to get me healthy. But here's the problem during basketball season. The problem is, it's not a problem. Happy to be here. Love being here. By the time we wrap up a basketball night, if the Kings are playing, it's what, 10:45 when Grant and I finish our last show? I'm hungry. I can't just go to bed. I end up staying up for like an hour or so. The late night eating kills me. But yes, we try to limit the processed foods and such around here. We're pretty good about that. Okay, Flores giving us an alternative. Winner takes home court in the finals, regardless of record, with a $1 million bonus. Okay? We hear your love for basketball, Ryan. Thank you, Sack Girl. Look, it just sucks, man. A lot of you, depending on what age group you are, think about the 96 All-Star game. Think about Mitch Richmond's All-Star game where he won the MVP of the game. By the way, Steph Curry, the MVP of this All-Star game, which I get it. Anybody think that was pre-planned? And I'm not trying to be conspiracy guy here, but it was almost like, who could you not? You couldn't give it to anybody else. Like, it had to be Steph Curry. His imprints were all over this game and what they were going to do with the new format. It's just sad to see. It's unexplainable, actually. It is literally unexplainable that the NBA is giving the rights to this thing, to TNT, and you have somebody on the panel that is a current NBA player trashing it. Yes, Jordan versus Kobe. Absolutely. Iverson versus Jordan. Those guys cared. It mattered to them. And guess what? The season wasn't any longer back then. There's a couple reasons that I think it mattered back then. Is some of those guys that were playing in the All-Star game, they weren't getting as much run nationally. They weren't. You maybe, because you had the NBA on NBC. Yes, you had TNT. But for some of those guys, it was their only chance to get out there on a national stage. It was a chance to show what you can do, test yourself against the best in the game. It was almost like if I do a wrestling analogy, like these guys understood that it made business better. It made business better for everybody. If you had a big breakout performance, you sometimes would get your own shoe. Guys were biting at the chance to be a part of All-Star Weekend, even if they weren't playing in the game, to be in the three-point shootout, to be in the dunk contest. And now it's just, it's the opposite. They don't care. They're leaving the game in a worse place than when they took it over, at least the All-Star segment of it. When all the 2004-ish Pistons got in the game, same time, and locked everybody up. Yeah, look, I had no problem. Friday night was cool. I thought Friday night was really cool. The Rising Stars game, for those that did not catch that. So here's a few of the problems. I said this all along, and it ended up being a big talking point of All-Star Weekend amongst many of the outlets covering the game, broadcasting from the game, doing interviews with players that were either playing in the game or just there for the weekend because they've got responsibilities and marketing things to do. But why not have 15 All-Stars for each conference? Unanimously. I didn't hear anybody say no, you shouldn't do that. You can't do that. This was the wild card, right? This was what the NBA was relying on to hopefully kickstart Steph Curry, kickstart all of the big names that are in their twilight that have really just left this All-Star game in shambles and in a mess. Here's how we kickstart them. We put a group of young guys out there. They're going to have to play then. You know the young guys are going to bring it, right? And so when they did the Rising Stars games on Friday night, I thought it was decent basketball. In fact, Team G League won their first round game. Team G League almost made it to the All-Star game. Think about that for a second. Team G League almost made it to the All-Star game. Now, for me, I would have been over the moon. I would have been fired up. And that actually could have been a little bit of best case scenario for the NBA because you know those guys are going to go out there and not give a crap. They don't belong out there, according to Draymond Green, to others watching. But you have a group of guys that are going to push the pace. They're going to try hard. I thought it was a decent event overall. It was probably the best basketball that you saw all weekend. The guys tried, they were defending, there were runs back and forth, the coaches were coaching, and I understand there is a nuance to this. This is a little bit of entertainment too. You want to have those fun moments that are made for TV. You want to have those one-on-ones. You have to have that perfect balance. Well, you don't have that balance anymore. So we already heard what Draymond had to say about the Rising Stars. Amon Thomas's team ends up making it through to the All-Star game. And then we go to All-Star Saturday night. All-Star Saturday night, we've already covered the Chris Paul Wemby thing. The skills challenge is a joke. You've got to do away with the skills challenge and replace it with something else. Because even if you have guys out there trying, what's exciting about that? There is nothing sexy about the skills challenge. It is a glorified warm-up at a basketball camp. Throw a couple passes, hit a three, run up and down the court. That's a wrap. So we've kind of hit on that. That needs to change. The three-point shooting contest right now is the main event. That is the biggest thing that happens on All-Star Weekend. In fact, that is now the thing that everybody wants to be a part of. Not the dunk contest, not really the game. It's the three-point shooting contest because threes are how the game is won today. Threes are how the game is predominantly played. Adam Silver talked about that a little bit this weekend as well at his press availability. So I was fine with it. There was some good moments. Buddy Hield ties Steph Curry's 31. For me, a big-time basketball person, I have the utmost respect for these guys going out there and doing this because I don't know if y'all have ever tried shooting 27 basketballs in under 2 minutes or whatever it is, 90 seconds. Think about if you go to Dave & Buster's or you go to an arcade and you play one of those mini basketball games and you do that for 30 or 40 seconds and you're trying your hardest. You are exhausted. Your arms are jello. I mean that seriously because I do it all the time and I played basketball through college. Your arms get to jello. When you're in the NBA and you're shooting that many threes in a row, not to mention you're taking balls off of the rack, which is completely different. You normally have your coaches passing you the ball and shoot around to grab a ball and then just shoot. It's a weird motion. It's not a normal motion. So I feel like it is the best demonstration of skill in the NBA All-Star Weekend set. Whatever you want to call this 3-day circus, parade, convention, it is the thing that most people look forward to. The dunk contest, it was unfortunate. Some of these guys, some of them did not make their dunks. But look, I didn't think that it was a situation where guys were not trying. It's just a situation where you're getting what's left. Even Mac McClung. I think there's an element to Mac, who won it for the third straight time. There's an element to him where he was asked afterwards. He's like, "Are you going to come back to defend your championship?" Well, we'll see. I mean, I don't know. Like, well, we'll see if they reach out to me and how hard that they come after me. And I get it. He wants to be more known as more than a dunker. I thought that for him, he was super creative. The car thing, not so much. But every dunk has pretty much been done to this point, unless you are going to have the biggest stars in the NBA participating in the dunk contest, which you will never likely have again. Cancel it. Be done with it. Replace it. You got to do something different. You've got to do something different. Let the dunk contest ride off into the sunset. In fact, this year would have been the best possible way to do it, with it being back in Oakland or San Francisco, where Vince Carter had his amazing dunk contest, which was chronicled on All-Star Saturday night. The guys obviously get up for it. They enjoy seeing it. But guess what? It's kind of your opportunity to see all the stars, right, around the court, taking it in. Again, no LeBron James. LeBronda, LeBag, LeBum, whatever you want to call him, wasn't even there. Yes, let me repeat, was not there. This was the Turner crew when LeBron, when it broke that LeBron would not be playing.
Draymond, do you just want to suit up?
I think Bron could have helped somebody else out and said this.
Said it earlier so they can find someone else. So you can go in and play. So you can go play.
I that type of year, but somebody out there. D-Book.
We have a jersey for you. D-Book.
Great
Absolutely. Sabonis.
There's a lot of guys, but there's a lot of guys who are worthy of that like you said, who he close. He's close by.
He took a roster spot from somebody.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Gotta
Well,
let it
listen,
be
we
known
still get to
earlier.
watch Steph. We still get to watch Anthony Edwards, and it is still going to be some of the best basketball players on the planet ready to get it going at the Chase.
Think about this really quick. Not even the $1.3 million. Think about how that could affect Sabonis possibly making the Hall of Fame. I'm being serious. I'm being a little extreme, but I'm being serious. Those things matter when it comes time to decide whether somebody should be in the Hall of Fame or not. Sabonis coming off of a game in New Orleans when he had 22 points and 28 rebounds, the only guy in the league to have more than 25 rebounds in a game this season, and he's done it twice. All those things get kind of glossed over because, one, he plays in Sacramento. We know the stink that's around this team, on this ownership group, on that building that's been there before the building was built, before this owner owned it. He's just exasperated it now at this point. So an all-star bid matters. It matters. And for LeBron, again, like how you're not like considering finding this guy, how you're not considering doing something punitive is beyond me. To me, it was insubordination of his peers. And I'm not saying this as a Kings homer or anything else. It was insubordination and complete disrespect. It was spitting in the face of the people that have come before him and paved the way. Domas would have had a $1.3 million bonus. 1.3. And LeBron couldn't even be bothered to put a uniform on. Couldn't even put a damn uniform on. Unreal. Absolutely unreal. So I guess here's where we come to. It's what does the NBA do from here? What can you do? And here's the other thing. I hit on this briefly. I want to just highlight this again. I don't mind the fact that this didn't happen again. I actually kind of respect the fact that it didn't happen again. Women's basketball is hot right now. The WNBA is hot right now. You are seeing more women in commercials. You're seeing more presence than you have ever seen before. They are trying to grow their game exponentially. Because whether you realize it or not, this is going to sound crazy. The WNBA has never had a profitable year. They have always operated at a loss. It was David Stern's little project. And I mean that with all due respect. It was David Stern's baby. They kept pushing it. And guess what? It's starting to catch on. That's because you have girls, women, that have played through college, developed rivalries, and have also really kind of blurred the lines. In fact, if you want to talk about why women's basketball these days is getting as much run as it is, to a degree, it goes back to the men's product, because guess what? The men's product has completely changed. What's the one thing that the men usually would be able to do that the women normally don't? It's play above the rim. It was the physicality. It was the high flying, right? That's what separated the men's and the women's game. Well, now in the men's game, in the NBA, it's skill. It's three-point shooting. It's those things, all things that women are plenty capable of. And so now the difference between skill sets of the NBA and the WNBA and the style of their games is not all that different. In fact, I would argue they are closer together than they have ever been. The WNBA is probably more watchable than it's ever been. It's not a much different product than the men. Now, certainly it has its nuances. It's a little bit slower. I get it. That's going to happen. But the team aspect of women's basketball is way better than the men's aspect right now. And because it's a three-point shooting game, guess what? It's watchable. You're not thinking about when you watch a women's basketball game now. Before, many people that watch the WNBA, instead of watching the skill and tactfulness that the women played with, you were watching the differences. You were pointing out why it's different from men's basketball, which then makes it unwatchable because these certain things are not included in it. You're not doing that anymore because you're seeing 95% of the same things, and some of these women play above the rim. They actually do now, okay? So back to Steph and Sabrina. It was one of the biggest hits last year of the All-Star game, of All-Star Saturday night. Everybody wanted to see it. Why not pump it up? Why not hit it with a shot of roids, right? Sam says, Ryan, no, the game isn't exploding in popularity. Caitlin Clark is popular. Sam, you're wrong. Sam, you're wrong. Now, the game is not exploding or getting the numbers the NBA gets, but compared to the numbers of the WNBA 2 years ago, the game is exploding exponentially. And yes, Caitlin Clark is a big reason for that, but there are also other players like Sabrina Ionescu, pictured right there. There's a wide range of players, Caitlin Clark being one of the bigger ones. But what I was going to say is pop it in the rear with a shot of steroids. Why not incorporate Caitlin Clark? Why not do a girls versus guys setup when it comes to a three-point contest, when it comes to something else? You know why? Because the women want a cut of the piece of pie too. They want a cut of the pie as well. Why does the men's product get the money get the run, get the advertisers. Come do it on our platform. Come do it there. So that's why they pulled the plug, in my opinion. That's why they couldn't come to an agreement. I guarantee that they want the men at their all-star game, and the men probably aren't willing to do it because you can't even get the men to really come to their all-star game. Joseph hopping in. How about that USA? Yeah, that was crazy. Good stuff, man. I've got no issue with it. Hockey is growing on me. I think hockey is great. So, anyways, I've kind of just beaten this thing. I've peppered it. This has not really been a sniper type of take. It's been more of a shotgun take, just spewing everywhere at different things all over the map. But you get my point about just how bad this weekend was for the game of basketball. Now, as for the game of basketball, how do we fix it? How can you fix it? Here's what I know. You can put together any type of format that you want to put together. The guys don't care. They don't take it serious. It doesn't matter. You could tie financials to it. You could tie this to it. You could tie that to it. The only way that the All-Star game changes, the only way that this continues, or this doesn't continue, I should say, is if this new generation of stars, the new faces of the NBA, SGA, Wemby, Anthony Edwards, if all of them say screw your ways to LeBron. I hate to throw Steph in there because I feel like it's not really fair. I do respect Steph. I think he's brought a decent amount. If they step up to the plate and they just actually take it serious, if they look back at the body of work of those who came before them and they want to respect the game, instead of falling into line and going with what everybody else that's a vet or has multiple time all-stars appearances, instead of just going with their lead, following their lead, if they take the game back and make it competitive and they actually play hard and they push it, they can get the All-Star game back. Because guess what? These guys are on their way out. Those guys are on their way in. The only way the All-Star game changes is if those guys change their mindsets. Other than that, there is no way to fix this thing. You might as well cancel the thing. Turn it into a Saturday night thing where you're showing different contests. You do what you need to do. You can incorporate the WNBA, but do away with the game because it is a utter and complete joke. So I hope this new generation changes things around. Let's go to Kazi. Kazi, what's going on?
Hey, Rhino, I just literally just tuning in like within the last 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Is there a certain topic you want me to stay on, or is it just gonna?
No, go for it, brother. Wherever you want.
So I wasn't able to watch All-Star Saturday night and Sunday night because of work, but I think it's crazy for Saturday night that again, like the G League player won it again. I mean, yeah, I saw the highlights. He had some like good dunks, especially the one where he jumped over the roof of the car, not the hood, like Blake Griffin back in 2010, or was it? But like, I mean, I think us all as fans wish that we had like some superstars in the league in the dunk contest. Like, I mean, I'm not saying we actually necessarily need like, you know, people of like LeBron's caliber. I'm just saying like maybe like an Edwards, you know, someone like that, you know, that caliber, which is he's obviously still very much a budding superstar. But then let me ask you this. Did you watch the All-Star game on Sunday?
Yes, I did.
How would you rate it compared to like previous All-Star?
At least in previous All-Star games, you got 48 minutes of basketball.
So this All-Star game was like condensed?
There was, for the entire broadcast of 3 hours, there was 33 minutes and 41 seconds of basketball.
Wait, there's only 33 minutes of like
33 minutes and 41 seconds of actual gameplay basketball that was played yesterday.
Are you serious?
Dead serious.
Okay, Ryan, let me tell you this. This is all. I'm not trying to get political or anything, but this is kind of reminding me of like fucking shrink inflation.
Hold on. No cussing. No cussing, Kazi. Please.
I apologize.
All right. Go ahead.
But it's like so all these people are spending their money to go see this game, right? And then it's like they don't even get the full 48 minutes.
No. Because they're doing target scores, and then you had skits in between. You had it was more of like a theater production, it felt like, than it really did any type of exhibition game.
Because there was like, so it was like the tournament style, right? And there was like,
correct.
There was the freaking team from the Friday night. So there was 4 teams, right?
Correct. So you had the 3 all-star teams, and then you had the Rising Stars team that won from Friday night.
And Brian, right. In that Rising Stars game, the G League team almost won. We almost had a G League team in the All-Star game. What the heck?
It would have been good. Yeah, I think it would have been great if the G League team would have been in the All-Star game.
Like, is that a joke? Like sarcasm?
No, I'm being dead serious. I think it would have put the rest of the guys on blast. Think about that. No, Kazi, think about it.
What Grant's wait, maybe it's something where like I actually agree with Grant, because like the thing is like with Grant, him and I were like the stuff I agree with him are kind of like shaky, but I mean I think I would say I probably agree more things with you, but like that's probably something I'm having a hard time like getting on the bandwagon with.
Because Kazi, it would have exposed even further the problem with the All-Star game. Had the G League guys made it to Sunday, it would have exposed. You have a group of guys that are going out there that probably will never step into an actual All-Star game by being named an All-Star, that are on the same court, sharing the same court as the cream of the crop, the stars of the league. They're sharing the court with them. And what if they beat one of those teams? It would have forced the guys to play, is what I'm saying. They would have had to play defense.
So I'm guessing on Friday, because I actually was able to watch it Friday, but on Friday you're saying you were basically rooting for the G League team to win.
I was. Absolutely.
I was too. I was too.
100%.
I think it really would have been like just shouldn't have been a wake up call.
Yes. And I respect the grind of the G League guys too. Like seeing Mac McClung and what he's doing with the dunk contest. Not a lot of people realize he was the MVP of the G League too. Like there's a lot of good stories in basketball going on down there. In fact, Isaac Jones, Scal, they participated in the G League stuff that happened this weekend as well. They actually went against each other. That was kind of cool. But I think the G League stuff is a great story. It's a way to feature, hey, we've got a league of guys that are actually playing pretty decent basketball and not getting a lot of attention, especially now with the CBA being what it is. You're going to see more guys going through development or teams pulling from their G League teams to try to fill out rosters because you have limited resources financially to work with.
And then as far as like the Kings, what I expect for coming out of All-Star break.
Yeah.
I mean, as I look at it, like, okay, I don't really expect much. I mean, their chemistry isn't on point. Their defense is absolutely terrible now. If the fact that you're going to have Levine and DeMar DeRozan like playing close, because what I've noticed, what I have seen and found in these games since Levine has come over, Keon Ellis has not been playing in crunch time. So you only have one actual good perimeter defender, as in Keegan Murray, on the floor, and then Sabonis is just trying to lock down the paint. And then you have, those 3 guys trying to play defense, and that's what killed them against New Orleans in that double or that overtime game. And I feel like if you had taken out Monk for Ellis, I think you would have had another perimeter defender. You could have had Ellis help shut down McCollum. I mean, McCollum's still really good. I'm still he would have been able to score over Ellis, but it would have been much harder. But I feel like this closing lineup with else on the bench is going to cost them the play-in spot. I don't predict them making the play-in. I predict they're going to finish 11, and they're going to get either 38 or 39 wins. And I believe that probably McNair is going to get fired. Wes Wilcox will get fired. Doug Christie may not be the coach next season, but it's just like that's just bad like management and coaching. And it's like, as we all know, can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm here. Got you.
My phone got alert. It's just like I don't see how you can have a lineup go in with such a poor defensive lineup and expect that's going to like bail you out. That offense is going to bail you out. This is not the same team from 2022, 2023 season. And, it's like Vivek, as we know, basically runs the show for everything. He's the really one that's hiring everyone, firing everyone. And it's an absolute joke. And I really don't have much optimism until like Vivek says, all right, I'll finally let my GM and coaches do all the work. I'll just hang back. I'll chip in here and there. But it's just going to be a continuous cycle until this man actually lets the people below him do their job.
I don't disagree with you. It's been the problem for a really long time since Vivek's been here, and it feels longer than it has been, but it's been the issue. We'll see what they do. Hey, appreciate you, brother. Hey, just so you know, the cussing, I don't mind a well-placed bomb here or there. I do it once in a while, but more kids are tuning into the show with their parents, so I want to be mindful of that. So wasn't trying to get on you too much about that.
No, I respect that. Like the thing is, yeah, I mean, I also try to probably avoid like explicit language, if you know what I'm talking about.
You're good, brother. I appreciate you. Thanks for the call. All right. Good job, Kazzy. All right, let's start the Kings part of the program. Let's start talking about them. We've got a few days until they return from the break. You can hit the link if you want to call in. I got to give Kazzy the alarm.
Where'd you learn to talk like this?
Kazzy, where'd you learn to talk like that, my man? Come on. We still got it going on here, man. You know how I told you all about the D's thing with my little man? How he just thinks D's is the funniest thing in the world. Well, now he has somehow worked his way to the fake names. You know the fake names that I'm talking about, like Seymour Butts, Seymour. Yeah, so now we're getting some of those, and we're having to shut those down really quick, and we are closer than ever to the fine jar. Yes, the 25-cent fine jar for anything like that. But getting back to the Kings, getting back to the schedule they have coming up. Yeah, Dennis, that one. That's one of the many. But let's look at it. So coming out of the gate Friday, you've got Golden State at home. Golden State at home Friday, and then you get a couple of days off. The Kings right now, 2 games above 500, 28 and 26. Let's look really quick at the standings. Standings are important. What do we think is going to get you to the play-in? And here's one important thing to point out. This team is well aware. The Kings, the organization, they know where they're going, if they're going to land in the playoffs, how it's going to happen. It's going to come through the play-in. That is what they are planning for. Monty McNair has said as much publicly, and I have heard the same thing behind the scenes, that it is gearing towards a play-in. Now, you understand that obviously your goals are set higher, but realistically, if you are looking at this thing, the play-in is where the Kings are going to have to work their way into the playoffs. Is it impossible for them to get into a 7-game series from the play-in? No. If you're in the 10 seed, then you got to win a couple of games. Understand that. But I look at the Kings and I look at their roster. I look how they're set up. I look at what they've done since the trades. And it's not been great, to be honest with you. The ball movement has been bad. I need to see a bigger sample size with Zach LaVine. We've seen, 6 or 7 games now with Zach LaVine. And yes, he broke out in the last one. But as I said on my last Kings Court, my worry about Zach LaVine is more up here than it is physically. I think the guy can score. He's a freaky athlete. He can get to the rim. I think that, I like his attack. I do. But learning how to play in this system, which is a whole nother conversation. What is this system? What is your identity? I'm not quite sure. The turnovers are what have me really, really just kind of in my stomach. Maybe that's why I want to do the cleanse. It's because all these Kings turnovers and them not being able to defend in transition. The game in Dallas where you turn the ball over, what was it, 22 or 23 times, resulting in 34, 36 points. That can't happen. The fact that Kings won that game is incredible. So getting back to what we're looking at with the standings, what gets you into the play-in? What's going to get you there? Right above 500. I don't see that changing. I think the Kings, if they can remain right around 500, if they were to be 2 games over 500 at the end of the season, right now they're 2 games over 500 at the break, and it's not a true halfway point. We're way past the halfway point. The Kings have played 55 games. If they're 2 over 500, they will be in the play-in. Question is, can they get there? We'll talk about it in a second. Let's look at the teams right now that we're looking at in the Western Conference. Golden State. I think they're going to shoot up a little bit. I did not think that the Jimmy Butler acquisition was going to change a whole lot for them. I'm starting to feel a little bit different. So I have Golden State a little bit more towards the 6-7, between 6 and 8. That's where I've got Golden State. Phoenix, I think you're going to see the exact same thing from Phoenix down the stretch. I don't know what kind of team they're going to be. They obviously can't stay healthy. It's just a mess out there. It is a absolute mess in Phoenix for what they are paying. 163 or 64 million in luxury tax for a team that's not even in the play-in as we sit right now. Whew, that's not good. Dallas. Well, this is complicated. AD, a month maybe with the abductor injury. How about Gafford? Possibly the rest of the regular season. And by the way, respect to Dallas for winning their last game with like half of a roster. That was impressive. I don't know what to expect from Dallas. I don't. What do you all expect from Dallas? I think Dallas could fall out of the play-in altogether. That being said, I could also see Dallas as a 6 seed. So I'm really wishy-washy there. If I look at the teams below the Kings right now, Pelicans, not going to happen. Utah, forget about it. Portland, no. But here's what you might see from Portland. Last year, Houston made a really big push at the end of the year. Like Houston won 3/4, I believe, of their final games. They had a massive winning streak. And in some ways, it propelled them into this season. It gave them a lot of that hope. Watch for Portland. I think Portland will continue to have a decent run. They're on a good run right now. I believe they've won 10 of their last 11. I want to say 10 of their last 12. So Portland has been playing really good basketball. What are they here? 6-4 in their last 10. Okay, so I'm thinking about their stretch that was before that. But I could see Portland kind of pushing a little bit. San Antonio, right now 2 games out of the play-in. I don't think they get over the hump this year. I don't. I just think there's still a lot to figure out there. Wemby, he's not playing every game, and I'm not sold on De'Aaron there. So I think they are still out. Now, doesn't mean the Kings can't come back to them, which we hope that they don't do. And that March 7th game is going to be massive for really probably for the well-being mentally of this fan base. That's going to be a massive game when De'Aaron Fox returns to the Golden One Center, and how the team handles it. We've talked about it on the channel. It's going to be interesting. My guess is you're going to get some type of video tribute before the game. Anything more than that, think is a massive mistake by this organization. But that conversation for another day. The Clippers, I'm convinced they're going to stay up there. The Clippers will stay up. The Lakers, I'm not sold. I could see the Lakers falling back into the play-in. I could see them falling back. The Luka move feels more like a long-term play than a short-term play. They've still got problems inside. Alex Len does not fix those. Denver, I think Denver falls back a little bit too. Denver is very, very thin. You still got one of the best players in the NBA. But I don't know that they stay at that 3 seed, although they've won 8 of 10 here recently. Memphis and Houston and Oklahoma City. Those will be your top 3. Those will be your top 3 in the Western Conference, in my opinion. So that's kind of how I look at the West. Let me know how you look at the West, what you think it's going to turn out to. Now let's turn to the Kings' schedule. And let's try to predict some of these games. I'm going to go through game by game. If you want to call the show, give your take on the second half of the season, let me know. You are welcome to do it. Just hit the link that's right there in the chat. We will get you on. You can also scan the QR code as well. We'll get to your comments in a second. Dennis says 27 to go. Yes, indeed. All right, let's go to the first game. Friday, February 21st. Warriors and the Kings. These are always very close games for the most part. And remember, you bounced the Warriors pretty good one time this year. You bounced them really good. And then they came back and somehow you won your game. You won that game on your home court. I don't know how the Kings did, but they did. I think, drum roll, Kings win this game. I think the Kings come out. You're going to see fresh legs. I think you're going to see more sets, a little bit more structure. Defense is still a worry, but I think Keon Ellis, I have seen him play Steph Curry about as good as you can play Steph Curry. I think it's going to be a big, big Keon game. And then also, we'll see if Markelle Fultz will be in the swing of things when it comes to that first game. He was obviously on the bench for the last game, but did not play. I thought that was the right move by Coach Christie. So I'm going to say the Kings win that game. That's a W for me. Monday, February 24th, Charlotte. And by the way, this is your last stretch. You are smack in the middle of your last stretch of basketball that is winnable, like where you could go on a little bit of a streak. It's your last stretch. Charlotte comes into the G1C Monday, February 24th. I'm worried about that game. I am really worried about that game, especially if the Kings win on Friday night. In fact, I don't like that game very much at all. I think the Kings lose that game to Charlotte. So 1-1 after the break at Utah that Wednesday. And again, think about this. The Kings are going to be so well rested. I know that you guys had heavy minutes in that last game. Sabonis, and it went to overtime, 42-43 for DeRozan, 36 for Keegan, 45 for Zach, 43 for Malik. But you have had a week and change off, and then you only play 3 times in a span of what? Well, I guess it's not bad. 3 in about 6 days, 5 days. Okay, it's about normal. So they should be fresh. They should be good to go. Should not be a big deal. Utah, I'm going to say the Kings win. Saturday, March 8th or March 1st, Houston, Kings lose that game. At Dallas, Monday, March 3rd, Kings win that game in Dallas. JC, what's up? Honestly, who's to say they were even going to give it to Sabonis? They would have screwed him over for someone else. I don't care. Look. JC, it's throw Sabonis out the window. That's not why I'm sitting here pissed off. I'm pissed off about how LeBron disrespected the process and disrespected the NBA. Borderline insubordinate. Coming off of the All-Star game that happened last year. To be the face of the league, to not show up to the Bay Area until late Saturday, early Sunday, and then not play, that's insubordinate to the NBA. Yeah, sucks for Sabonis. I don't care if it went to Powell. I don't care if it went to Sabonis. I don't care if it went to Devin Booker. I still have the same beef with LeBron. That was BS. That was Bush. That is about as bad as it gets. That was not something, in my opinion, whether it is a legit injury or not, that was not something that I believe there was a high percentage in LeBron's mind of him being able to compete in that game. I think LeBron knew that he was not going to be able to play in that game. Not good. Not good at all. In fact, let's listen to Adam Silver really quick from this weekend. We'll keep going down the Kings' schedule. I'm going to give you how I think it finishes out. If you want to call with your predictions, please do. Here was Adam Silver this weekend.
Over the last few days, there really is a sense of optimism in this community right now. I felt it all the way in New York before I got here. I think the national media is covering the renaissance we're seeing here in San Francisco. I've had the opportunity since I've been commissioner to be.
Did he just say renaissance in San Francisco in the same sentence?
You're here quite a lot, given the number of finals that the Warriors have participated in. I've always enjoyed coming to this community, but I do sense more energy these last several days here than I've experienced in a long time. I think just a true sense of optimism here that the city is turning the corner, and that under Daniel's leadership, that things are heading in the right direction. I do also, though, want to thank London Breed, the previous mayor. She was instrumental to bringing the All-Star game here. I haven't had a chance to see her since I've been here yet, but I know she's in town. So I do very much appreciate her and want to thank her. Without her, this game, these festivities would not be happening here right now. With that, we've already had several events, as you all know. I've had an opportunity to attend them, from the Rising Stars to the Celebrity Game, many different competitions around the city, and everything has gone really well so far. So I'm looking forward to tonight and then the All-Star competition tomorrow night. So with that, Maureen, happy to answer any questions.
We're going to go on the left, second row, Tim.
Tim Reynolds with the AP. Adam, good to see you again.
You too.
It's been a couple of weeks since the trade. I'm curious what
the trade.
The trade. That's what we're capital T is what we're calling it now. I'm wondering how you absorbed the initial news of the trade and how you've processed everything that's happened since, including the Dallas fans and the Fire Nico and all those things happening. And there's obviously a lot of anger. And how is this good for the league when a fan base feels very, very jilted right now?
So let me begin by saying, and I said this already, I was surprised when I heard about the trade. I did not know that Luka was potentially a player that was about to be traded. That was news to me. I followed it like a fan from that standpoint. And I've said before, that's the kind of confidential information that's generally not shared with the league in advance unless a team is publicly shopping a player. And as best to my knowledge, that's not what happened in the case of Dallas and Los Angeles. And in terms of anger at the fan base, I'm empathetic. I understand it. I mean, Dallas was in the finals last year, and I've also said this before. I like Luka very much. I've known him since the day I actually met him before he came into this league when he was at Real Madrid when we were over there, playing a preseason game. And it seems genuinely, truly authentic that he was stunned and disappointed. You could see it in his body language. Having said all that, I also am sympathetic to the Mavericks organization. I mean, I've known Nico Harrison for a long time from his prior tenure at Nike, and I've gotten to be close to Patrick Dumont, our new governor in Dallas. I can say one thing for sure, whether or not history will ultimately judge this as a smart trade. They did what they thought was in the best interest of their organization. I have absolutely no knowledge or believe there were any ulterior motives. There's no doubt in my mind that the Dumont Adelson families bought that team to keep it in Dallas. You know, I have no doubt whatsoever that they're committed to the long-term success of that.
He says absolutely nothing by saying everything. Stunned by the trade, like the rest of us. David Stern probably would have vetoed that trade, just saying for the record. By the way, Mavericks fan, it's insane. We talked about the death threats last week. That stuff's not cool. But they waited. Check this out. Last game, Mavericks fan waited until after the game to protest so they wouldn't be thrown out. This ain't something that's going to stop the rest of the year. It's going to be crazy in Dallas. I feel for Dallas fan. So speaking of Dallas, that's the last game that we talked about. I think in Dallas is a win for the Kings as I look at my schedule. That's a Monday night game. Wednesday, you are at Denver. Wednesday, March 5th at Denver. That's a loss. The Kings lose to Denver. So if you are keeping track, that is 3-3 out of the break. Lau, what's up? Vetoed the trade on what grounds? It's a great question. I don't know what grounds he would use specifically. But David Stern, if something was not in the best interest of the NBA, he would veto it. And he had different grounds for some of the moves. One of the most notable ones, I believe, was Chris Paul to the Lakers. And that got vetoed by David Stern. I just think that, and it has nothing to do with Luka being moved. I think it was the process on how it was done. I think the rest of the NBA, the owners, feel like there was something there to a degree. Not that that's founded, but I could understand the issue that Adam Silver has on his hands about that. It's an interesting conversation to say the least, but there are grounds for them not to approve a trade. There absolutely are. If they don't feel a trade is fair, that's the first one. If they feel like that it's not a valid transaction or a fair transaction, like it's not good for the NBA trade market, they can veto it. So I think Stern would be doing a lot of things different. Yes, he would. Good point. Yeah, see, and that's Luka for AD and 1 first-round pick. I think that's the sticking point. When you zoom back on that trade and you look at just the bodies of work between Anthony Davis and Luka, you look at the ages, and you take away the off-the-court stuff with Luka, you take away the off-the-court or the injury issues with Anthony Davis, I think there is a lot of question about whether or not that is fair value for a player like Luka. I mean, think about this for a second. With Fox, and we don't know if this trade's going to end up being good or bad. We have no idea. We won't know for another year, at least a year, whether the Fox trade was a win, whether it was a wash, whether the Kings got hosed. We're not going to know. But look at what the Kings got in exchange. Now, I'm sitting here arguing they should have gotten more. I actually believe that. I think the Kings should have gotten one of those unprotected picks that San Antonio has. But the Kings still got a ton of picks for Fox and Levine. Luka for AD, they're at completely different points of their careers. It just, it doesn't. And here's the other thing. From a PR standpoint, and I'm trying to be objective here. And I'm trying to be a realist when it comes to the way that people perceive the NBA and some of the issues, some of the objections that some fans have about the NBA. That trade does not help the way some people view the NBA, whether it being fixed, whether it being, always in favor of certain teams. It doesn't look good. Doesn't look good. But the same thing I say about the De'Aaron Fox trade is going to be kind of true about this Luka trade as well. We're not going to know. We are not going to know really whether that was a good trade or not, both Luka and Foxy, or any of the deals at this deadline until we go through another cycle under this CBA, meaning we have another free agency period, meaning we have another trade deadline next year. Until we have something else, because this is the first year of the new CBA, until we have something else to base these moves off of and say, okay, we have a sample size to kind of determine what market value is for certain things in the NBA now, because it is slid. It is changing. I don't think we can judge it, but I could see where David Stern would be very, very hesitant when it comes to it. Dennis says the Lakers win the trade hands down. Guess where he ended up? Fox ended up where he wanted to go. Well, again, you don't on the surface with De'Aaron Fox, on the surface, compared to other deals that happened at the deadline, the Kings got a lot of picks. They might not be the picks that all of us wanted, but the Kings got a lot of picks. There were other deals that went down where guys did not, or teams did not get that type of haul when it comes to picks. And picks are the new, it's the new currency in the NBA. Picks in a trade are more valuable than the actual assets when it comes to the players that you're getting back in this CBA. Hands down. Hands down. Nets got so much from Suns. The KD trade, different CBA though. Different CBA. King should have gotten more, but Monty's hands were handcuffed, Fox said. Okay, again, this De'Aaron stuff, I've kind of hit on it before. There's a time and a place to have a bigger conversation about how all of this went down. Now is not the time or the place. Fox has been fairly active on social media. I know he has been in contact with 2 other shows here in Sacramento. There's a lot of context to what's happened this season. And Grant and I have tippy-toed around as much of it as we feel like we can share. And not saying that we have all the answers and we know everything, but we know a great amount of the behind the scenes. We're clued in, and we're clued in by separate sources. So that's what makes it all the more reputable. It makes it, all the more trustworthy. I just don't think it's beneficial to get into a bigger conversation around it. But I think that conversation needs to be had, and there's a time for it. Now is just not the time for it. So whether Fox should have been traded later around the draft, whether he should have been traded now. We can talk about that some other time, and what went into that. We can talk about that as well. Gary, problem with picks is it's a crapshoot. Who's going to be good or not? Very hard to predict. Most times teams are wrong. Think Bagley. Totally agree. There is a premium. There is a massive premium on drafting well and developing. There's always been a premium there, but it's times 2 now. Times 2. And on top of that, scouting, finding guys that are undrafted like your Keon Ellis's. Big premium there too. A lot involved. We've managed to grab, I think, all-stars over the years. Some of them shocking and some expected and not surprising. Yeah, you have. You've grabbed some guys. You've missed on a lot more. And look, there's a lot of teams that pass up guys. If we look at the Luka draft, for instance, the Kings aren't the only team that passed on Luka that year. The Kings aren't the only team. There were other teams. Atlanta passed on Luka. So you can go back, and we went back and looked at the 2017 draft. What was it? We did that last week. Do I still have that up? If I still have that up, I'll bring it up to you. I don't think we have that up still. Did the producers leave it up? No, they did not. Okay. By producers, I mean me. We didn't even have, most of us in that 2017 draft, most of us didn't even have Fox in the top 5. So, and look at how Fox ended up. So there's a lot of conversations. Zach wanted to be here. Sure. I guess. Remember, you got to be careful with that. Guys are going to... The exception to the rule are the guys that have the no trade clauses, and nobody, Dennis, is ever going to come out. If somebody's offering the most money and they agree to it, they're always going to say they wanted to be in a spot. And I'm not trying to make this about Zach LaVine, but we got to be careful with wanted to be here. I guess, what is the comparison to not wanting to be here? Pascal Siakam? Like, I that's why I'm saying I want to be careful about that. I'm cocky about it, though. I'm humble about it. Not one of those ignorant Laker fans. Yeah, appreciate you. Appreciate you being real about it, Will. Raider and Lakers fan. Interesting. I understand, Dennis. The Kings, that's what I'm trying to say, Dennis. The Kings offered him more money than the Bulls were going to offer, but then the Bulls matched the offer sheet, meaning he stays as a Bull. So when I say he wanted to be here, you got to be careful about that. The Kings offered him the most money at the time, and then the Bulls matched it. I get what you're saying. Not saying Zach doesn't want to be here, but you know, it's not one of those situations where Zach LaVine had his pick of 30 teams in the NBA and Sacramento was at the top of the list. By the way, speaking of lists, Markelle Fultz was targeted by some other teams. Have you know that? The Clippers were looking into him as well. I'm excited about Markelle. I am very excited about Markelle. Don't see the Kings winning any more than Zach. I expect better than you. You don't see the Kings winning any more than 13 or 14 the rest of the way. Well, I'm at 3-3 right now. I am at 3-3 through the Denver game, which brings me up to San Antonio. So I'm going to ask all you, March 7th, San Antonio in Sacramento. Which way do you see it going? Are you guys going Sacramento? Or are you going with San Antonio? Who wins that game? Let me know. I'll write mine down really quick. I'll write mine down. Dennis, careful, brother. Slippery slope for you. With your talk to text. I'm going to write mine down. Mine's written down. Is Zach LaVine and the Kings going to beat De'Aaron Fox and the Spurs on March 7th? What's it going to be? A lot of players want to be given a chance to play, and that's why that's why they often say it's good to be wanted. Several players on the Kings were not played as much as others. Sacramento wins. We've got our first one. Gary thinks the Kings beat the Spurs. Spurs don't have a chance. Kings for sure, says Balls from Dodge. Gotta be so careful with that. Depends on San Antonio. They're soft tanking. Or are they going to, Foxy's going to want that one. Foxy's going to want that one. That would be the Kings' best game all year. March 7th, Kings by 15. Kings win that game. Kings blow out the Spurs March 7th. Over under 13.5. Okay, we're going over 113.5 on 27 games. All right. I agree with everybody in the chat. I have that as a win. So that means I have the Kings at 4-3 out of the All-Star break through San Antonio. I do think that'll be a win. I do not think De'Aaron Fox is going to want to test the paint that night. That's all I'm going to say. I think Foxy is going to have to hit a lot of threes that night for San Antonio to win. So I agree. Kings win that one as well. I don't know if the boos, which he will get some boos. He will get some scattered boos. I don't know how much they're going to throw off De'Aaron that night. But I do not see him coming inside. Between Valanciunas and Sabonis, Sabonis will be physical that night. I can promise you. Bigger question is how Keon versus Fox playing out. I think it'll play out fine. Look, do I need to remind you that Davion Mitchell looked like an all-star against De'Aaron Fox in 2 meetings against the Kings this season? Let me repeat that. Davion Mitchell. Where's he at now? Miami? Toronto, Miami. Davion Mitchell outplayed De'Aaron Fox twice this season. I ain't worried about Keon Ellis on De'Aaron Fox. I think it's going to be just fine. I do think the Kings win that game. Then you are at the Clippers on March 9th. I think that is when the Kings end up losing again. So now we are back to 4-4. Let's see. Home. This is your brutal stretch coming up, by the way. So you're at the Clippers. You're home against New York. You're at Golden State. You're at Phoenix. And here's what comes up. This is your longest home stretch of the last part of the season. And it is brutal. This is going to make or break. Actually, I don't know if it makes or breaks. I think really, if the Kings don't come out of the All-Star break, so you've got Golden State, Charlotte, Utah, Houston, Dallas, Denver, San Antonio. That's 7 games right out of the break. The Kings need to go 5-2 in that stretch. Let me repeat that. The Kings need to go 5-2 in that stretch. That means you can, if you lose to Houston and Denver, you've got to beat San Antonio, Dallas, Utah, Charlotte, and Golden State. I agree. I agree with you 100%. I don't think they're a sleeper like Draymond Green said. By the way, Draymond Green, who destroyed the NBA in the All-Star game yesterday on TNT. Let's go back to him really quick. So how do you guys feel about what I said? The Kings have to go 5-2 to start the second part of the season. the third part of the season, the home stretch, after the break, whatever you want to call it, even though it's only 27 games. The Kings have to go 5-2 because after that stretch, check this out. You're at LA. You're home against New York. You're at Golden State. You're at Phoenix. And then your biggest home stretch starts. Listen to this. Versus Memphis. Versus Cleveland. Versus Chicago. Versus Milwaukee. Versus Boston. Versus Oklahoma City. Boston and Oklahoma City is a back-to-back. It's a back-to-back. Then you've got Portland. That is your longest stretch at home. You got to go 5-2 to start. You've got to go 5-2 because you're going to lose some of those games. The Kings are not. You have to have some insulation because then after that stretch at home, you're at Orlando, at Indiana, at Washington, at Charlotte, at Cleveland, at Detroit, and then you're back home to close the season versus Denver, LA, and Phoenix. So your hot stretch has to come here at the beginning. Has to. Stop, bro. I already gave you some love earlier and you're going to come in here? No, it's not going to happen again. Ouch. Anybody disagree with me there? Anybody disagree with me? 5-2 out of the All-Star break. Before you come home or before you hit the road on March 9th, you've got to be 5-2. Hey, Ryan, can't wait for James to retire. This drama queen is hurting the NBA. No doubt. We've been talking about it all show. LeBron James, what he did this weekend was insubordination at its absolute core. Insubordination. Hey, Haunted Horse, call the show really quick. We need to change a pace. I want to hear about your big day, Haunted Horse, and I bet everybody else is going to want to hear about it too. Get up in here, Haunted Horse. I just put the link in the chat. We'll give you 5 minutes of our time to tell your story. As we wait for Haunted Horse, who I know is going to show up, he's going to want to talk about this. Couldn't believe it when I saw my phone and saw that. What's up, King Edward? King Edward. King Edward, you better not be related to the king who basically just crapped on Adam Silver in the NBA this weekend. Draymond Green, again, from this past weekend.
Money, Dr. J and the Big O want to talk to you.
Yeah, exactly.
They played 50 years ago. That's not our fault. You work all year to be an all-star, and you get to play up to 40, and then you're done. This is so unfair to Victor Wembanyama, who just took this game really seriously. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who just took this game really seriously. When you talk about chasing after the points records, Melo and Kobe and all these guys who've had great scoring nights, they don't get the opportunity to do that with this game. Also, we can watch some rising stars. We're about to watch the Olympic team. Now we get the treat of watching the Olympic team play against a U19 team. Come on, what are we doing? This is ridiculous.
Yeah, Kenny's team is done, by the way. Chuck won. Kenny's team was one that's eliminated.
Yes.
Yeah, so SGA's still in it, Victor in it. But you're talking about the scoring records that we've heard. Tatum leading all scores, 55 a few years ago. It's harder to catch now.
They can't do that. They don't get to etch their name in the history books. It's the reason you get an all-star, Kobe Bryant all-star MVP award.
Scale of 1 to 10, your thoughts of the format?
10.
He gave it a 0, by the way. He gave it a 0, the format. All right, you ask and you shall receive. This man has a story to tell. Now, whether we believe it or not, we'll have to decide that. Let's bring him in. Looks like he's fresh off of his workout. Let's bring the little guy in. Where's our little guy? We got to get the imaging. We have new imaging for Haunted Horse. Anytime Haunted Horse drops by, here's his imaging.
Not so fast, midget. Not so fast.
Midget?
Yeah, little guy.
What's up, dude? You there? You there? We had him for a second. I heard you for a second. Whatever you did, go pull the plug. I don't know why he's always eating. We'll come back to him in a second. We'll come back to him in a second. I think TC just called the show. Let's give TC a call back really quick. TC gets upset if we don't call him back. All right. Here comes TC coming at you hot.
Hello.
Hey, what's up, King's Court?
Hey, how you doing right now?
What's going on, brother?
Not much. Just enjoying this day off. Wanted to just chime in, man. I see you guys talking about the schedule a little bit and the All-Star game.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd have to agree with Draymond. The format was horrible, you know. Terrible. LeBron, I think he just wanted to pat his stats once again. He wanted to be an all-star. You know, he wanted one more year on his resume. I'm honestly a Jordan and Kobe guy, but I don't see them ever doing that. But hey, LeBron got another all-star under his belt. You know,
he would have had one still, even if he didn't play. That's the thing.
Oh yeah, that's even more weird then.
Right.
I don't know why he did that, because I think either Sabonis or Norman Powell did deserve that.
100% agree with you.
Yeah, and as far as the Kings' schedule coming up, man, well, out of the All-Star game, the best thing that happened was for the Warriors. I get it was their home turf, but Steph winning the MVP of the All-Star game, and you know, because he was actually out there trying. But other than that, I feel like on the Kings' schedule, man, I'd agree with you. We need to go 5-2. You know, that Hornets team does give us problems because they're athletic, but I think you know, if they buckle down and we get some good minutes out of Markelle Fultz here going forward, I think we'll be good on the perimeter, and you know, at least better than the first half of the season. So I see us stepping up, and hopefully we do go 5-2 right now, 5-2, or even, you know, even a better schedule than, or a better record than that. You know.
Yep, for sure.
Yeah, as far as on the schedule coming up, let me see. I wanted to see that Dallas game you were talking about. Was that a home game?
No,
or that's
you are in Dallas for that one.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Yeah. I feel like, you know, after beating them the first time after the trade, I feel like we could still do that. You know, get that win under our belt. I do feel like that Denver game is going to be the tough one.
Yes, it will. I agree. The Kings usually play Denver pretty well. Last game was not a good indication of that. So I think you'll see a better Kings matchup there. It's just going to depend on whether Denver is healthy or not. And obviously the Kings to a degree as well. But to Dallas, in your point, the Kings play well in Dallas. So I think that they're going to be all right in that one.
I mean, as long as Kyrie doesn't drop 50 on us, you know, I think we'll be fine. how do you feel? I know you're talking about you guys are still talking about the schedule. I was going to ask you about the first 10 games. After this break, how do you feel? We'll be going like 5-5, 500, or you think we'll be below 500 on the stretch of this next 10 games? I know Grant calls it the murderous row.
Well, the murderer's row does not start until March 17th. That's your longest homestand of this last part of the season. And it's home against Memphis, home against Cleveland, Chicago, Milwaukee, Boston, Oklahoma City, and Portland. Boston and Oklahoma City is a back-to-back.
Okay.
So,
Gotcha.
Yeah,
that can be tough.
So if I'm going to, I know we like to do 5-game sample sizes. I'm going to cut it to 7 to start this part of the season off, or start the post break. They've got to go 5-2 in that 7.
Okay.
5 and
yeah,
2.
man. I hope we can, string together some wins. I'd love to see Doug putting in a little bit more wrinkles, with the offense, as with Levine and Fultz coming on, and then we need to get on another winning streak, like a 7 or 8 game winning streak will be perfect right about now.
Yep, I agree. Hey, appreciate the call. Good stuff.
Hey, thanks, Rhino.
Tell the dog.
Yeah, man, I had to give him a treat instantly. He was like, "Yo, you're talking on the phone and not paying attention to me."
For sure. Be well.
All right. Yep.
Good stuff there. Looky who it is. It's PK. PK. Wolfie's in the house. I expect you two to handle business. Let's see if this guy's ready. Haunted Horse, what's up, dude? No. Am I gonna have to tell this story for him? I'm not muting you. Not me. You're. Let me double check. No, you are loud and proud. He's never sounded better. Poor guy. We'll see if he can get it figured out. I really want him to share this story. Rarely do I call him out and I'm like, "Hey, Hana, get up in here." Schedule will be fun. Yes, it will. Where did you lose your sleeves? Yeah, we've been trying to tell him. It's that damn red mic, man. It's those Portland fans with those mics. It's funny. I wish you could see what I could see right now. It's like looking around. He's like, I don't know what it is. Come on, man. Figure it out. You got and I'm giving you a second chance. Y'all remember what him and Adam did at the end of this show on Friday. I'm lucky to even have this show still after their shenanigans on Friday. PK, good to see you. So yeah, 5-2. It's got to be 5-2. 5-2, right? Peter, still have employment. I love it, man. Yippee. Dude, I was worried there. I told you, Napes, I knew I was going to get that phone call. I was fully expecting the roll your sleeves up to your freaking neck, grab a box, and pack up your belongings and get the hell off my channel. That's what I was expecting after those two knuckleheads did what they did. That's what I was expecting, but all good. What's up, Dorian? How you doing? Hi, Rhino. What's up, BJ? I see y'all.
Acknowledge me.
We lost Haunted Horse. Hopefully we can get him back. Thank you, Furious. Haunted Horse 10 minutes on this previous show. Dude, that was weird when they did that. So anybody else thoughts on LeBron James? Different take than what I had. Anybody okay with it? Anybody cool that he pulled what he pulled? Again, you can't, and I'm going to defend Anthony Edwards. I don't think you can put them in the same boat. Now, I'm not saying what Anthony Edwards did was great either, because they knew the format going into this. They knew what it was going to be about, but LeBron not showing up until Saturday or until Sunday, really? Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Hate the break. Yep, I hear you. All right, let's see. Let's see if he is ready to go and the microphone issue is fixed. I'm praying this works.
Can you hear me now?
I got you now.
Okay, I rebooted the computer. Everything said it was all set up. I don't know. But to be fair, you gave me 2 minutes notice. I hadn't tested anything or whatever. You're like, get in here.
Yeah. Something significant happened.
Dennis asked why I'm eating. It's literally I got home 20 minutes ago. I did my workout, and this is my workout, my protein. So, okay, so this is what you want to hear. I don't know that your audience wants to hear it, but by the way, when you said let's see if we believe it or whatever, I told my wife this story. She can hear me in the other room because she's right next door. I do not lie to my wife, so it happened. All right, so I'm going to talk about the long version on my show. I will give you the short version here because this is an exclusive for my show.
Exclusive, yeah.
Yes. All right, so I am in 7-Eleven. I am off a 10 days vacation. I am dragging. I'm used to getting up at 8:30 on vacation. I get up at 4:30 this morning, and so I'm like, screw it. I'm having Diet Coke because I don't drink it anymore. But I'm like, I need some fucking caffeine. Oh, sorry. I'm gonna have to censor this.
That's terrible.
Yeah, there's a lot of. I will censor myself.
I barely kept my job on Friday.
I know. Right. Okay, so I have to censor this because there is a lot of profanity. I will censor it, but on my show, I'm not. Okay, so I'm in 7-Eleven, and as I'm walking in there, there's this guy, and he's got 2 big bags of cans. He's gonna turn in cans. So I go back to the soda fountain, and I hear him talking to the lady. And she goes, you can only get $2 worth of cans because we're busy right now. And he goes, the law says I can get $5. And that's what the law is. But if the store is busy, they can lower it to 2. So anyway, he's yelling or whatever. I'm getting my drink. And all of a sudden I hear the register. She screams, the register. And then she goes, he stole my wallet. So she goes out the door chasing him. I set my drink down and I go out the door. And I could hear her running down the street. And good thing she was chasing him because I wouldn't have known which direction he's going. So they're about 50 yards away at this point. So I crossed this 3-lane busy street, downtown Portland. And I get to the other side of the street. And this is what I thought in my brain. If I get close enough, he'll throw it. He'll pitch it. He doesn't want to get caught. So I start trucking. I'm in steel-toed work boots, my bro. And so and they're new. They're not broken in yet. They're only three weeks old. So I'm trucking and I start yelling at him, drop the effing wallet. I'm swearing a lot. Drop the effing wallet. Drop the effing wallet. And I catch up and I pass her and she looks at me and she's just bawling. He stole my wallet. And that's when I got really mad because I thought, my wife, I just got really angry. So I start trucking down and he turns a right and he goes down this residential street. So I'm trucking. I'm like, drop the effing wallet, drop the effing wallet. So he turns around. He dropped one of his bags of cans way up the street. He's still got the other one in his hand. And so he's got one hand on the bag and his other hand's behind the cans. I'm like, drop the effing wallet. And he goes, I threw it way back there. I said, I've been behind you the whole effing time. You didn't drop the effing wallet. Drop the effing wallet or I'm going to beat your effing face in. And so he throws it over the fence. And then I like, okay, I got to get over this fence now to get it. I go, get the F out of here. Because I'm not hopping this fence to get this wallet if he's on the other side. I want him gone. So he starts walking off with his bag of cans. So she comes up and I go, she's like, he's getting away. And I go, no, he pitched it over the fence. I got to figure out. So there's some cinder blocks on the side of the fence. So I hop on them and I look down. I go, it's down there. I can see it. And now I'm out of breath. I can't even freaking breathe. I'm like, and she's out of breath. And I'm like, just give me a minute. This fence is like 7 foot high on the other side. So I'm on the cinder blocks, but I'm like, how the hell am I going to get over there and then get back? I didn't think I could.
You're
and
like
then I'm
blown
looking
up.
at this yard that goes all the way around the house, and I can't see the other side of the yard. I'm like, man, if there's a dog back there, I'm dead. So I'm thinking, okay, I've been doing all this swearing and yelling. Yeah, right. I've been doing all this swearing and yelling. If the dog was back there, it would be right. So I'm like, okay, I don't know if I can get back over. I hop over, I toss the wallet back over, and sure enough, I cannot get back over. So then I'm thinking that on the third try, I'm like, okay, just pretend there's a Rottweiler in there. I bet I could get over. And so I jump and I get my ass over there, and I hop over. I hand her wallet. She had walked to the corner to see where he went. I hand her wallet. We walk back. I picked up the other bag of cans. I said, he's not getting these back. Took them back to 7-Eleven. I put them in their back room. I left her my business card. I said, look, if the cops come, he's on camera. I got within 5 feet of him. I was looking eye to eye. I could give a description, and I got my drink for free. That's what I got.
I was going to say, you better have gotten that drink for
I took
free.
it up the register. She goes, take it. Now, luckily, I didn't know this at the time. She had another coworker in there, because I'm thinking as we're walking back, I'm like, the freaking store's getting looted right now. But we got back, and there was another woman behind the cash register. She goes, I'm so glad you were here, and so she was in shock, but she was very happy.
Blue, you're my boy. Thank you, sir.
Anyway,
good job.
All
man.
I thought was, and I was telling this to my wife, I said, all I need him to do is pitch the wallet. That if he thinks he's going to get caught or something. So I was going after the risk reward. If I make the risk higher than the reward, he's going to pitch it. And he finally did. So, yeah, it was awesome, dude. I made
Good
my day
job.
all day. I was in a good mood.
Good job by you.
Yeah. Oh, great. I'm
Proud of
sick.
you.
I'm sick of the crap, the shoplifting and the crap. And I'm just sick of it, dude.
Proud of you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Proud of you. Proud of you. Proud of you. I wanted you to come on and tell that. Good
I
job.
appreciate
That's your
that.
good deed of the day. I did
Real
a good
quick,
deed earlier.
you know what the
too.
funny part was? I text you first.
I saw that.
And so I said, I just chased the guy down 3 blocks. Well, it was 2 blocks. When I went back and looked it over, because I went back looking for him in my van, it was 2 blocks. It felt like 3 blocks. I was huffing. And you're like, you're crazy. You could get killed. You know what my wife's reaction was when I told her the same thing I told you? Woohoo! Good job. You guys had different messages. I thought she would be the one that says you're crazy, you're gonna get killed, and you'd be like, yeah.
You know why? Because I got hammered, not like hammered, like inebriated, but I caught somebody breaking into my car in San Diego, and I did the exact same thing that you did. And I chased the dude down, and my parents just hammered, like, you could have gotten killed, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, okay. So I guess I'm passing it along.
When I first crossed the street, I told my wife this. I when I was still 50 yards away, I knew I was going to get it back. And the whole time, I never once felt I didn't have control. He didn't escalate. He was trying to de-escalate, and I was escalating. I just wanted him to drop the damn wallet. Just put it on the ground. I know you still have it. And so I was ramping, and he just didn't want any of that. And he finally tossed it over the fence, which was smart. That way he could get away while I'm trying to fish the damn thing out of the fence.
I can't believe you didn't pull something. That's what I can't believe. So anyway,
it never felt like I was like I didn't have control. He could have. People get shot chasing people all the time. I'm not chasing him if he's a shoplifter, but he took her wallet, and that it just hit me wrong. It just hit me wrong.
Well, good job by you. Go check him out at 5:00 tonight if you want to hear the full story.
Thanks for having me. Later, everyone.
All right. Good job by Haunted Horse. Good deed of the day. Anybody do a better deed than that? Apparently the gift card's not being paid out. Apparently PK and Wolfie came to some type of settlement agreement here. Interesting. I'll leave that to them. I will stay out of it. I simply run the show. No, not getting hammered. PK, the fast is on hold till tomorrow. I don't know if Haunted knows that. He would have been just hammering me if he knew that. So yeah, the game had its moments, but it was trash as usual. Too many ads. O'Brien, you got 33 minutes and 41 seconds of basketball in 3 hours. That thing was about the sponsors. That thing was about everything else than basketball. Kevin Hart doing his thing. It was unfortunate. It was very unfortunate as we get ready to wrap up. He's going to explain his case. Okay. Haunted Horse has now put me in a worse position with my boss. PK, please do not put me in a bad one as well. What's up, dude?
Bro, I would never put you in a bad position. Come
All
on.
right. Good stuff.
Yeah, no, Wolfie is a legend. He's a class act. He says he doesn't want the gift card because he's just, he's a classy guy. But I might think of something throughout the season, maybe like what Dennis said, maybe give out like multiple cards to someone. But we have the whole season to worry about that.
Cool.
I have a question for you. It's like, do you think it's like nice to have a break from Kings for you? Because you have to cover them nonstop after that last loss. To be honest, it's like I kind of enjoy this like little break because that was so brutal.
It's a good question. It's actually a great question. Somebody just asked me that earlier today. It's nice in this sense. I get to take a step back and kind of look at everything with a fresh set of eyes. Because when we were coming out of the trade deadline and straight into the will Levine fit, will he not fit? Yeah, I mean, you get a little tired for sure, but I love what I do, so it doesn't matter. I can't wait to get back to doing the games and can't wait to have
Also,
basketball
another
back.
thing, Ryan, I think it's really hard to assess this team in reality because like there's so many things that happen at the trade deadline. Losing Fox, bringing in Levine. Levine was out, like he had a baby. He was out for 2 weeks with Bulls. Then we had like our rotations were weird. Then we brought Valanciunas. No one had a chance to practice. It's like it's really hard to like. Do you agree that it's really hard to tell what kind of team we have right now? It's like maybe like after the break, although the schedule was tough, but it's like I think like being critical of them, and then maybe the schedule is tough, but I think it's really hard to assess what we have because they never had a chance to really, like our schedule was just back-to-back games. Just they were running, going, playing, and didn't have like a chance to like kind of work together.
Yeah, I get it. I do, but I PK, the thing that bugs me is there's certain fundamental things that every team runs. And so I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt through up until Friday. I want to see some of those things cleaned up where there was just very simple mistakes being made that whether any professional basketball player, especially if you're somebody like Valanciunas, like if you're somebody like Levine, you could walk into any 30 buildings in the NBA and know that that team is running this certain thing. And there's an understanding, a principle of what you do, what you don't do. And those little things, the repeat mistakes, the clock management, that stuff to me, I'm going to give it, like I said, the benefit of the doubt. But if I continue to see it
like a
after
grace
the break,
period.
yeah, if I continue to see it after the break, I'm going to start to get worried because the ball movement has not been anything close to the ball movement that we saw during the time that Fox was not playing. And so my question is, why is that? What's different? What's not happening? And
Well, I'm not gonna hold you up any longer. But last thing from your experience, Ryan, when a new roster is formed, in a sense, do you think the defense is the harder mesh, or is it the offense when you start adding
the
new
offense.
pieces you think the offense is harder than
100%.
defense?
Yeah.
You think like on defense they should be like locked in? They should know what they're doing.
Well, they're going to be different. So on defense, everybody is a different defender for the most part, right? But the principles on defense, like I said, they usually go through every building in the NBA. Everybody uses the same template, and then your adjustments, the things you do out of that are different. So when I see very simple mistakes, like I saw from Levine, like losing man and ball, like that's fundamental.
Ryan, on the defense, they are making the dumbest mistakes
Correct.
ever.
Correct.
They're making these average mistakes, and even like, and it's like I don't even understand like when they put them in the zone, these guys don't even have a clue how to play zone.
It's and
Because
so,
it's not easy playing. Like Boki says, it's like, I mean, I'm not saying that doctors in Europe are freaking coaches, but I'm saying it takes to play a zone, you have to understand it as a group how to run it. And they just seem
correct.
like sometimes when they go into a zone, it's like these guys don't get it.
And PK, I have more tolerance for that when it comes to mistakes in the zone defense versus mistakes with the man defense.
Mm-hmm.
Like even, and thanks for the call, brother. I appreciate you.
Yeah.
Even with the man defense, we saw double teams being split. We saw guys taking awful angles on closeouts. And I'm not trying to target Zach LaVine because I can point to Keon Ellis. I can point to Sabonis. I've got them all up on the whiteboard. It's just these little mistakes that are adding up that can't happen. This team has plummeted from where they were at defending the three. And I get it still was not very good. It was 22nd or 23rd, but compared to 29th and 30th, that was a big improvement for the Kings, and the Kings are back now at 29th. So those little things, those things are the things I'm having trouble with. So I have to see that change when they come out of the break. And quite frankly, Doug Christie is going to have to do a little bit more as well than he has been doing. I think the time for teach them how to play rather than teach them a play, I don't think that can be the concept any further. Now, you can have that as your goal of what you want this team to be able to do, but when you integrate this many new pieces that are completely different, you've got to put some more structure in, or else you're going to see a lot of the turnovers like we have seen over the past 5 or so games. And to the Kings' credit, they have won some of those games as well. Sam says, whoever goes to the game or versus San Antonio, can you please boo Vox at the introduction? It'll be interesting. I am incredibly interested to see how they will handle it, not only in the building, but on the telecast as well. That's going to be interesting, but we will see soon enough. We're only a couple weeks away from it. So Sacktown Carl told my wife not to watch the All-Star weekend. She told me it was a wreck. Yeah, it was not good. And I just go back to LeBron James. They deserved so much better. The other All-Stars, the NBA, the guys that didn't have the opportunity to replace LeBron, complete Bush League. It was, to me, one of the absolute low points of LeBron James's time in the NBA. Not trying to take it too far. I am not trying to over sensationalize. I just, if anybody else pulled that, I just don't know. Like, is there anybody here as we get ready to wrap up? A few things we did not get to. PK talked about golf. By the way, you may have seen this on TV today. The TGL, it's Tiger Woods' new digital. It's like digital golf meets futuristic golf meets real golf in a stadium setting. He's created this center where you're hitting into a simulator, but then on the back end, they've got a rotating and a green that is mechanical and can change pitches and move 360 degrees to simulate any green that you would be hitting onto in the computer. So you basically chip anything 50 and in, you're hitting onto this screen in the stadium, and you've got people around. On paper, it's a really cool concept. Getting a chance to play it would be amazing. Watching it on TV is awful. I can't watch it on TV. I love the idea. You know why I can't watch it on TV? Because I want to do it. It's just something I can't watch. I want to do it. Like, it's driving me crazy that I'm not there and I can't try that. But to watch it on TV, to see guys hit into a screen and then turn around and chip onto a green, it's a great idea for a business. And for everybody else wanting to do it, cool thing. Makes us all want to try it, Tiger. This thing ain't going to work. Cool technology, though. Really cool technology. Again, would love to do it. I just can't watch it. It's a little bit weird. And they've got music playing, different professionals in golf clubs. But anyways, getting back to LeBron. Just want to knock that out really quick. I truly don't know if it wasn't LeBron, how it would be handled right now. I think that player would be getting hammered. That player would be getting thrown under the bus. In fact, I would venture to say some of the bigger guys in the NBA, like Steph, like LeBron, would probably comment on it too. But what do you do when it's LeBron? Dude is apparently bigger than the game itself. And if you missed my take at the beginning, this generation of stars, LeBron, and I hate to use Steph because I kind of feel like he's in the middle. This generation of stars is responsible for this all-star problem. The past generation of stars, Kobe, Michael, Iverson, Vince Carter, they didn't hand it over to this generation like this. It's this generation that's taken this all-star problem and made it so bad. Now, I'm not saying the NBA is doing them any favors either. The NBA shares some blame too. But if you want to look at the all-star problem this league has now, look no further than that dude right there and what he did this weekend. The only way to fix the all-star game is not making it USA versus the world. It's not changing the format again. It's not giving them rings if they win the all-star game. The only way to change the all-star game comes from within, and it comes from the next group of rising stars, the new faces of the league, Anthony Edwards, Wemby, SGA, to name a few. It's going to be up to that generation to say, screw you guys and screw your generation for disrespecting the game. That's what it's going to take, because you've got the legends, everybody up until this generation that ain't happy with that generation. That one that includes LeBron, that includes Chris Paul. Just go listen to Julius Erving's comments. Go listen to anybody that used to take the All-Star game seriously. They ain't happy about it. So stand up to them. If you're SGA, stand up to them. If you're Anthony Edwards, easier said than done. Those guys taking this game serious is the only way that it changes. The only way. Stand up to them. That's all you can do. Make them. You have to expose them. You have to sacrifice them. You need to put them on blast at the next All-Star game. Make them look like clowns. Make them play. If not, you got the same problem. Because these old dogs, they ain't learning new tricks. It ain't happening. Sam with the last word. Yeah, the problem is the new guys are all overpaid and don't want to get hurt and hurt themselves financially. It's a money issue. Well, they're going to have to choose. They're going to have to choose. If Furious says all-star game, all show, not fun to watch. 33 minutes and 41 seconds of basketball. That's what you got. 33 minutes and 41 seconds of basketball. Crazy. We are back tomorrow. The fast begins tomorrow. For sure this time. Not changing. The fast will happen tomorrow. So come with some support, come with some love. Don't rub it in. Hopefully my mind's working okay. But we are fasting through the rest of the break. That's what we are doing. Tomorrow, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, we will be fresh, light, and ready for the start of the season. If you are just tuning in now, 5-2 in the first 7 is what the Kings need to do. 5-2 in the first 7 out of the break is essential for the Kings to stay on track to make the play-in. My apologies to any of the younger generation that may have heard some 4-letter words today, and to the parents, my apologies as well. Our bad. We'll work on it. Live streaming, working on solutions to that. It will happen. I'm not mad at the people that did it. It's emotion. It's real. It wasn't overemphasized. It wasn't purposeful. It was real. They were real stories, real takes. So take that apology from me, from the heart. Appreciate you. Make it a great rest of the day.
Where'd you learn to talk like this?
I don't know. I actually don't. I do blame Haunted Horse. This is the second time he's tried to get me fired. So, yeah, go bug him on his show. But we'll be back tomorrow. Much to still talk about with the Kings, NBA, and getting you ready for the start of the push for the play-in. Make it a great rest of the day. Coach Christie, break us down, please. Man, I'm excited for this fast. I'm excited.
That's big time shit. Together on 3, y'all. 1, 2, 3. Together.
Light the damn beam. We are out until tomorrow. Court is dismissed.
Feel good about yourself, Ryan. You're just a part of the King's court.